Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Bird Brothers podcast. I am one of your feathered hosts, Falcon, joined as always by my good friend Condor. How are you doing today, Condor?
Oh, well, hello, everybody. I'm doing just fine, Falcon. Thanks for asking. I'm ready to talk about a new anime that I have not watched before. And just let me say, we are watching it. We watched a pretty interesting one, and we have lots of good things and maybe some bad things to talk about, right?
Oh, of course. And before we talk about that, we did pick this show in particular. I had a friend pass away last week. He was a huge Gundam fan, so I felt like let's watch a Gundam show. It's a good way to kind of pay memory to him and everything. So this episode is dedicated to my bud Sean. I hope you're doing great wherever you are, buddy. And let's talk about some Iron-Blooded Orphans.
That's right. The anime that we have watched this week is Mobile Suit Gundam Iron-Blooded Orphans. Yeah, that sounds like such a hard ass title, you know. There's gonna be some good stuff in this, you know.
Yeah, it's gonna have some great stuff. Let's see. So, Condor, do you want to tell everybody what it is about?
I can bring a little bit of a synopsis if you don't mind.
Okay.
So there is 2 seasons for this anime, and on the Wikia page it says it has like the synopsis for both of them. But I'll just say the season 1, obviously, because we only watched season 1 for the anime. Just a forewarning: if you're not like a big Gundam fan, there might be some things you don't understand, but I'll try my best to explain what I can. It is now the post-disaster era. Roughly 300 years have passed since the end of the great conflict known as the Calamity War. The Earth sphere had lost its previous governing structure, and a new world was created under new systems of government. While a temporary peace had arrived, the seeds of a new conflict were being sown in the Mars sphere far away from Earth. The protagonist, a boy named Mikazuki, belongs to a private security company called Christ Guard Security, CGS. The company accepts a mission to escort a lady, Kudelia Ina Bernstein, a girl who seeks liberation of the Martian city of Christ from the rule of one of Earth's major powers. However, the military organization Galahorn attacks CGS in order to nip this rebellion in the bud. CGS begins an evacuation using the main character and the other children as decoys. I think that's as much as I'll say for the synopsis. Gives a little thought. So basically, you got this group of kids, right? Like literally. Probably
legitimate kids.
I'm not sure how old the oldest one is. Apparently apparently one of them's 17. So let's just say like around 17, 18 for the older ones. And they're in this company, and they get this mission to escort this girl to Earth. And there's this military come that's like, oh, we don't want that to happen because we're happy with everything the way it is, and you can't mess it up. So they come and try to kill the kids. But it fails, and the main character gets a really cool mobile Gundam suit, just like the title, ha ha ha, and he's really good with it, even though he's never been in it before.
Right. And so pretty much
it.
There was a giant war 300 years ago. This military company called Galahorn made Gundam frames, and they had, I think, like 80 different Gundam frames that were all unique, and they used this to stop the war and stop the fighting. It kind of made peace everywhere. So Galahorn is now kind of this like unofficial world military kind of deal, or intergalactic military.
Yeah.
They operate mostly in Earth, but the show talks about how they're kind of corrupt now. They don't really care about the ideals they used to have, and they especially hate Martians. They don't like anybody from Mars really, but Mars is doing really bad. So this Kudelia girl lives on Mars, and she's trying to fight for independent free trade on Mars, because the trade on Mars is very greatly hampered, and it's causing the people there to live in poverty essentially. But CGS is this company that all these kids work for. A lot of them are orphans, or what they call human debris, which is where they were found in space, captured, and sold. So kind of like slaves essentially. But they all have this system implanted into them as well called the how did I just forget it?
The Ally Vigium thingy. Hold on, I could find it.
Yeah, Alia. I don't remember. It's confusing. I always forget what it's called, and I've literally finished it yesterday. I should remember.
Yeah, they mentioned it so much, but it's a really unique.
It's a really weird name.
Maybe if
let me see. We click on Mikazuki. But essentially, yeah, they end up Galahorn ends up attacking because CGS took a job to transport Kudelia to Earth. And they don't want that to happen because they don't want her to get free trade and all that. So
It is called the Alaya Vijnana system.
That's right. I don't think we pronounced that right, but who cares? It's crazy.
I pronounced it as best as I can. Alaya Vijnana.
Yeah,
that's what it says.
Yeah, it's. I'm not even gonna care. I think it's like Vinyanus or something.
It's
like,
basically this thing that lets them like be more one with the robots. And
yeah,
like,
they get to use. They essentially are one with the robots instead of just like having controls and moving it around and looking. You actually like. You still have controls and stuff, but you have like sensory awareness as if you are the robot. So it's not you having to like move the camera around. Like you have better awareness of everything.
Yeah,
which makes you react faster essentially. Yeah, that's pretty much what it is.
And that's shown a lot in the show too, because at first I'm just like, what makes this system so special? But then you see when the main character is fighting the enemies, they're like, wow, he's moving a lot more faster than us. I wonder why. So you could tell it's really the system that's making the big difference in their combat abilities.
Yeah, they essentially, when Galahorn attacks, the higher ups at CGS try to flee and leave all the kids to die. So with that happened, the kids decide they're just going to revolt. And
revolution.
They kick out all the old guys or kill a lot of them. Even you find out they end up renaming it Tekkadan and taking Kudelia to Earth as part of their first mission, while having to evade Galahorn along the way, essentially. But that's the main purpose of season 1, really, is them protecting Kudelia, getting her to Earth. And I guess that means we can start talking about the characters.
Oh boy, the characters.
Oh boy. And we'll start off at first with the main. He's probably the main character, Mikazuki.
He's definitely the main character. I would agree with that. He is the first character shown in the opening, so he must be the main character, right?
Yeah.
Real quick before we get into the characters, I just want to mention that this was originally an anime. So the anime is the original source material. There is a manga afterward that might be show like a little side story of the series. But the anime ran from 2015 to 2017. However, that's both seasons. For this podcast, we've only watched season 1.
Yeah. We only had time to watch the first season during this holiday week.
At the time of this recording, it's Black Friday week, so it's really tough for some of us who work retail. So we only watched the first 25 episodes. So feel free to strap in as we talk about the lovely characters.
Yep. So Mikazuki is. Does it say his age on here? He's probably 16.
He's probably a lot younger than Orga.
I'd say between 14 and 16.
I can find it.
He's not like super little. But yeah, he is very easygoing, very calm and collected.
Oh, wow, it doesn't actually say his age. That's crazy.
Yeah, that's all I was like, it doesn't say. I always thought he was just like 1-2 years younger than Orga, and Orga is probably like 17.
But his eye color is blue.
His eye color is blue. That's very important.
Fun fact.
Yeah, but he very calm, collected. He follows Orga around just like a little puppy a lot. He and Orga are very close. Orga has told him he's going to take him to the place where they belong. So Mikazuki is blindly following Orga until Orga can take him to this so-called like paradise or place or whatever. He appears emotion. Yeah, I'd say that's right. He doesn't really show his emotions a lot. He appears emotionless, and he's also usually pretty blunt about things. But he's very focused. And especially in battle, he is extremely cold-blooded. He's just going to defeat whoever's in front of him because that's his job.
Yeah, he's basically like the perfect war machine for like the war which they're fighting against the other military.
Yeah. Anything else you want to add about Mikazuki?
I don't know. I kind of didn't like him personally as a main character. I feel like that character trope is kind of lackluster for a main character. I mean, it's totally, he has his cool moments when he's fighting and everything, but for a main character, there's not really much character growth. I think the only time he might have been questioning himself was during like the halfway point of season 1 when he was fighting that like blonde guy in space. And he's the blonde guy was like, "You like killing, don't you? It must be really fun for you." And he's like, "Do I like killing?"
Yeah, he honestly doesn't know. He's just like, maybe I do.
I'm hoping that's expanded upon in season 2, but as of season 1, I really think he's not that good of a main character. Not opinion. He's still a good character, but not a good main character.
Yeah,
I feel like Orga or maybe even Kudelia would have been a better main character because I feel like they have more of a character development.
I feel like, honestly, in my opinion, I feel like Orga really is the main character, but they just show us more about Mikazuki. I feel like Orga fits the bill a lot better. But yeah, you find out even through flashbacks at an early age, Mikazuki and Orga essentially are just orphans on the street just trying to survive. And you see really early on, like 8 or 9-year-old Mikazuki just like shooting a guy in the head.
You
like,
can tell their blood is iron or something.
Yeah, like so he's had to grow up like fighting for himself and just kind of having to do whatever it takes to get by, as a lot of these kids in Tekken had to do. But otherwise, he doesn't really grow much. He's very one note. He's just kind of the stoic guy who's there to be really, really good at fighting. He doesn't learn many people's names. He calls two of the main bad guys Chocolate Boy and Chocolate Boy's friend. And then he can't pronounce Chocolate Boy's friend's name when he does learn the name, so he calls him Gali. Or no, Golly, maybe?
Either
one of the two.
Yeah, it's pretty funny.
But he's like, oh, it's Golly again. And it's just like, okay, but otherwise he doesn't really care about most things. He's just there to do whatever he's needed to do. Yeah. And before that, I'm looking at his voice actor in the dub, which is Kyle McCarley. Let's see. He's done several things, but nothing I feel like is super, super great. He played Ryota Watari from Your Lie in April, so the best friend for those of you there. Let's see. He was in Durarara X2. Oh, he was Iruka Sensei in Naruto Shippuden.
Wow.
Good old Iruka Sensei. Never gets enough
love.
love.
That's actually a good question. Did you watch the anime dubbed or subbed, Falcon?
I did watch it dubbed. I watched it on the Funimation app.
I watched it subbed. I watched it on Crunchyroll.
Gotcha.
So we listen to two different voices.
He is also in Jojo for you, Chimp. He is Narancia Giriga.
I don't know who that is. Must be a villain.
Someone with purple hair and like a red bandana on their head.
Which Jojo?
Golden Wind.
Oh. Say the name again one more time.
Narancia Giriga.
Oh, is he like a kid with like black hair and a bandana?
Yeah.
Oh, he's one of the main characters. Oh, okay. That's cool.
Oh, he's also Psyche from The Disastrous Life of Psyche K.
I have not watched that anime.
I haven't either, but I know a lot of people like that one, so I just thought
time to watch that next.
Yeah. I guess that would lead us next into our boy Orga, who you could argue is the main character.
Well, even if he's not the main character, Orga is more of the leader type. He honestly really cares for all of the people in Tekkadan. He doesn't want anyone to die. He doesn't want anyone to sacrifice. He wants to just be there with his whole friends who he considers a family, as he wants them all to successfully strive in the universe and just become noticed and have jobs and make sure everyone's happy. That's basically Orga's character to a T. But he's a really cool guy. He's 17, the leader of Tekkadan. Might potentially have a love interest with an older lady. That's really cool. Good for him.
But otherwise, he's very responsible, but he's also very reckless. He has a very strong sense of responsibility as well. A lot of his plans are very reckless and kind of extremely risky. But he's able to pull them off simply because he trusts everybody and everybody knows he trusts them. So that he's very good at empowering them, I guess. He's
definitely the leader type, so he fits his character really well.
He's not afraid to ask for advice. He ends up getting like a mentor figure in the show, a guy by the name of Naze. He never hesitates to ask Naze for advice as to what he should do or how he should handle things. One thing I really liked with him is at one part, they'd all been working and they just had some of their teammates die in a fight and they're going to be docking. And he flat out tells them, like, give them time off, give them money to do what, let them enjoy things for a bit. They've been working really hard. They just went through this thing and he doesn't see the point of spending the money on it because they're a very new company. They have very little money. They're worried about running out. He's like, literally just give them all like a night to celebrate and whatnot. It's like all the younger kids. He bought like, I think it's just like a bunch of like sweets and cakes and stuff for them to eat on the ship. And then all the older teenagers he takes to one of the bars out on the satellite and pays for them to get drinks. And some of them also pay for other things. He's good. He tries to improve all the time. The weight of losing people hangs on him, especially one more towards the end.
I really like I really like Orga as a character. He's
Mhm.
pretty good. Something I should say about this. I just want to say this is my first time watching a Gundam series. This is my very first Gundam I've ever watched. I
Mhm.
didn't really have many expectations for characters. I just expected some really cool mech fights. But if I may just be honest, the mech fights were just kind of mediocre at best. But the
Mhm.
character development was really good. Not as good as say March comes in like a lion per se, but it was
Oh
a
no.
lot better than I expected. So I was really enjoying all the characters and how they interacted with the story and everything. So that's why I really
Yeah.
like Orga, because I feel like he played his role really well. And when he was down, he picked himself right back up when he really needed to and just
Yeah.
kept pursuing to his goal.
And he had a lot of good people to rely on between Naze and then I just forgot her name, the kind of like administrative lady they get.
His love
Uh,
interest, yeah.
yeah, his love interest. For sure. Yeah, he had a lot of good people to rely on to kind of help him out, pick up the slack if he needed it.
Her
But
name is
also,
Maribit.
yeah, I was like, I forgot her name. It wasn't a weird name. But also in the dub, he is voiced by Johnny Young Bosch.
Oh, is he really?
Yeah, he
Oh
is.
my
So
god, I missed that out. Oh my
yeah,
god, I would have loved to
I
hear
mean, you
that.
all probably know who he is. So I don't feel like I have to give his roles out, but he's Makoto from Free, Lelouch from Code Geass. He's also isn't he Ichigo from Bleach? I'm pretty sure.
He's Narukami from Persona. I don't know if you mentioned that.
He is Narukami from Persona. I did not mention that.
He's
He's also
also Adachi
Rantaro
from
and
Persona.
Hajime from Danganronpa.
Basically, if you know Johnny Young Bosch, he's a pretty famous voice actor, so you probably heard him a few times in roles. If you don't know, he's pretty popular.
Yeah, you've definitely heard him before somewhere.
Good to
He
know that he plays
also
another
was
prominent role in another anime.
yeah. He also was Adam the Black Power Ranger from the Mighty Morphin Power Rangers. So if you watched the original Power Rangers as a kid, you definitely know who he is. He's the guy who says "I'm a frog"
That's
in the
not Kamen
movie.
Rider.
That is not Kamen Rider, but that is a topic for another day. Don't get me started. Okay. But yeah, but just also to kind of let you know, Chimp, Gundam, I kind of feel like I kind of consider it the Star Trek of anime.
Oh, you don't say.
And I'm probably alone on this, but like Star Trek isn't necessarily about exploring the planets and getting into space battles. It's about the people on the ship and how they handle the situations they're given. And it deals with a lot of politics and stuff a lot too, from what I've seen personally of Star Trek. I've not seen like every episode or anything. And I feel like Gundam's kind of the same way. You've got all the characters interacting, where they're going through. You've got the kind of like politics side story in most, or politics story going on in most of them. But then you do have these battles that happen. Some of them are really cool. Some of them are really lame. But they're there to help keep it from getting too stale. Essentially, I personally feel I could get roasted by the whole Gundam community on that. For all I know, I've not seen every Gundam show, but that's just
every single Gundam person.
I mean, I might
How
have.
dare you?
I've only seen a few of the series. I've not seen all of them, so I'm not an expert.
Here, let me try to save it. Big robot go burr against
Big
other
robot go
big
burr.
robot. There we go. I saved it. You're safe.
Oh, thank you. All right.
Anyway, we get a little off topic, but basically,
Yeah.
Orga's a pretty good character. I guess we should move on to the next one, who is.
Let's do Akihiro next.
Okay.
Keep it in the Tekkaden family.
Oh, okay. We keep it family time. All right. Why don't you tell us about our dear friend Akihiro?
So Akihiko is one of the members of Tekkaden who is considered space debris. So he was essentially, you find out he was bought with his brother when they got like their like spaceship or space station got raided when they were little kids. They got separated. When he got sold to CGS. So he's essentially just been a slave for CGS his whole life. He doesn't have like a lot of personality. He's very serious, very, I guess, goal oriented. It kind of seems like, but he originally his goal was he wanted to find his brother and reunite with his brother. But after so many years of not being able to do that, he just assumed like his brother's dead, because at that point, his brother probably wasn't as lucky to go someplace that like kept him fed and whatnot.
I thought they mentioned you forgot about it until just recently with feeling the warmth of a family again. I thought that's what they said.
Yes, but he also says he just assumed he was dead. And since he just assumed he was dead, he kind of just forgot all about his brother, because what was the point? Okay. But yeah, then Tekkaden was talking about how they are like a big family and whatnot. That makes him remember his brother, which we actually get like a scene about that later on, But we won't talk too much about that. Right. But otherwise, he's one of the main fighters of the crew. Besides Mikazuki, he's probably their best fighter they have on the team. But he doesn't
also has this system in him, the Alaya Vijnana.
Yeah, pretty much every kid from CGS has it because Krieg, the guy who originally bought them, phrased it as the kids are useless if they don't have it. So CGS is like a military force, but they also did like some scrapping and stuff. So they had these mini kind of mobile suits called mobile workers that they would have the kids pilot, and they all have the A-list Vignana system or whatever in it. So they all had to have it to operate. But yeah, so he has it as well. He's one of the better ones with it.
Basically, they get so in the beginning of the show, they only have the one that they found in their base, but as they like defeat some of the enemies, they like steal them and like make them their own. So basically, the one that Akihiro controls is the one that was like their first like major bad guy from Gallowhorn that they fought, and they're like, oh, this is mine now. I'm stealing it.
Commander Cranks. They salvaged it and made it Akihiko's, and then they salvage another one from an enemy group that then becomes Akihiko's.
Falcon.
But then I think the other old one becomes Shino's, I think. Otherwise,
as your co-host and fellow friend, I must remind you that it's actually Akihiro and not Akihiko. That's the third time you said that.
Oh, my bad.
It's okay. I don't want the fans to get angry at you any more than they already are.
My apologies. I mean, they're probably already like, what? This dude. Okay.
I'm surprised they're still listening.
I know. They probably clicked off and are like, man, you suck.
Anyway, as Akihiro continues with into the show, he's kind of like this guy who's just there. Like, I remember the first scene, I think it's episode 1, where like, I guess the people from before they're called Tekken, they're all goofed around, and Akihiro's like, oh, you guys are so annoying, and he leaves. But like as the show goes on, he like opens up a little bit more with his feelings and stuff. I honestly thought he might get like with one of the girls from Naze's group, maybe, because it looked like that's what the show is pointing towards. But
all of Naze's crew is married to Naze.
I don't know. Maybe they're like, I want a divorce. I don't know. I don't think he would care. I feel like,
I think Akihiko's was more for a storyline. They didn't. Akihiro, my bad. I said it again.
Someone's got Persona on the brain.
Yeah, I have Persona on the brain apparently. But he didn't view his life worth anything since he was just a piece of space debris. After Tekken takes over, Orga gives them like, if you got like a paper or something from the person who like had bought you, you could like, you essentially weren't debris anymore and you were free to do whatever. And Orga, there's a scene at the end where they take over. He's like, hey, he get all the space debris people. He's like, I'm giving you all this. You can stay with Tekken and have a job, or you can do whatever you want. I don't care. The option's yours.
I kind of did view him as the leader of the space debris in the beginning. He seemed like the leader type at the time. Well,
really, there's only, I think, one other member who was actually like space debris who actually like has a name that we really see much of. But yeah, they all kind of open him up to the fact of they like him, they want him to be there, and so that he kind of starts feeling the whole family kind of thing. So I feel like at the start he didn't really have a personality because he just views himself as a tool, just waiting till the time he dies. To where later on he kind of actually gets to value his life more. And I feel like they just didn't do that super well. But he is voiced by Doug Erholtz, who is the voice of Squall Leonhardt from Final Fantasy. Also Python from a couple of the Final Fantasy 8.
Yeah, the worst one.
Triggered. I'm kicking you out of this room right now.
That's okay. I'll excuse myself.
But no, he was also Jean-Pierre Polnareff from Stardust Crusaders.
Okay, I like that. I like what that's the best character in Stardust Crusaders.
Oh, is it? Okay.
He is.
He's also Asuma Sarutobi and Kankuro from Naruto.
Oh, okay. That's a good
so he has had several good appearances. I never
had some prominent roles,
heard of him, but that he's done bigger names than I thought he would be. But yeah.
What a gamer.
Guess we should move on.
Who's our next character?
Miss Kudelia Ina Bernstein.
All right. I'll take the wing here. We got this character,
right.
right? Her name is Kudelia, right? She's a blonde girl. She seems like
She's
a
got
rich
way
girl.
too much hair.
She really do got
Too
too
much
hair.
hair.
Oh, I will admit that her hair was kind of a little goofy looking when I first saw. I'm like, what is this girl with this hair?
It's not as ridiculous when she has it just pulled back in a ponytail, but otherwise it's just like hair everywhere. And I'm like, Kudelia, stop, cut it. Like, you can do that.
So basically, she's this Martian character who's trying to seek peace with Earth and trying to, like, I guess, try to trade half metals or something. I never really understood that angle of the show. But basically, she hires Tekadon to escort her to Earth on the way, and on the way to Earth, she grows as a character. At first, she's like really conflicted about like everything that's happening, but as she grows, she realizes she has to make a decision no matter the consequences, and that makes her a pretty interesting character. She's like a really nice character who ends up falling for the main character, obviously, as usual heroines do. Our little main character Mikazuki might get his own little harem too, because there's another girl who's interested in him.
Good old Atra.
And it was really weird how they were kind of. Atra was just like, "Oh, I accept this 100%."
I think my favorite Atra moment was where they just meet the turbans. And she's like, maybe Mikazuki and I can. She doesn't think she can beat out Kudelia for Mikazuki's affection. So she's like, maybe we can just have what Mr. Naze has. We can just be a happy threesome.
Yeah.
Like,
that made me laugh. I'm just like,
Atra.
oh, it's so goofy. But basically, Kudelia is she is shown with her maid Fumitan, who is another character who basically comes from her I guess she's a rich girl, right, Falcon?
Kudelia is, yes. Her father is one of the richer Martians.
Yeah, so basically what she wants is to just for peace and everything between Earth and Mars, and to bring, I think she wants to save her hometown from like just destruction of like Galahorn or something. I think that was the plot point. I didn't really focus too much on that part, but basically as a character, she's a really interesting one who you probably wouldn't really like at first, but as the show goes on, she's actually really interesting, and she learns from her character faults and just grows.
She's the one who goes through the most character development. She doesn't really want to save her town from Galahorn. It's just there's so many trade restrictions on Mars. They've got these like half metals, but Earth apparently has like the same half metals. But Earthlings are very kind of racist against Martians. They view Martians as like dirty, and they don't really like Martians. So the Mars half metals aren't worth near as much as the Earth half metals. So because of that, the people of Mars are living in poverty, because that's one of the few like industries they have on Mars, really. You find out that like farming on Mars is worth nothing. A lot of the farmers on Mars go out of business because they just can't keep up paying people and living off what they make. There's one character whose family owns like a cornfield, like a corn farm, and you find out if he wasn't working for CGS, they would go out of business because they have to rely on his salary to keep them afloat, kind of deal. But she's wanting just fair trade agreements with Mars, so that way the people of Mars can actually live and not be in poverty all the time. So she's saving her hometown by getting them back into livable conditions, essentially.
And just go all the way to Earth to make that happen.
Yeah, and she doesn't want like any like violence or death or anything. She just wants this to happen, but she quickly realizes that Galahorn doesn't want her to succeed because they're taking advantage of the fact that all the Martians are living in poverty and that they can't have good trade routes and whatnot. So they want Kudelia dead. That's kind of the whole deal. Galahorn doesn't want her there because she's going to mess things up. They feel like if she gets Mars their independence and all of this, that other people will revolt and then nobody leaves Galahorn. So they're trying to stop her. And she quickly has to kind of realize that what she's wanting, she's going to have to fight for. She can't just make like some appeal and then just everything magically be okay. And so it's kind of her getting over her naivety of what's going to actually happen if she wants this, and does she want this bad enough for the consequences or whatnot. But yeah, she's very hopeful, very idealistic.
And that never changes as the show goes on. She just becomes more realistic.
It doesn't. She just gets over her naiveness to realize, like, this is still what needs to happen. And you know what? Yeah, I've realized people are going to have to die, but so be it. Like, if they have to die so that way people for generations can be free and happy, like, all right, I'm down with that. But she really has to struggle with it. And I really like, they give her enough screen time to show it very well. I do like that a lot with her.
Something the show is really good at is showing each of the characters, even the ones we're not mentioning, because there's a lot of characters in the show, or for Galahorn that I'm not Galahorn for Tekadon that they focus on. We just to save time and to talk about other things, we're not talking about all of them, but a lot of them get their own moments as well.
Yeah. She was voiced in the dub by Cherami Leigh.
Oh.
Who is best girl Makoto Nijima from Persona 5.
That's right. No one is better than Makoto Nijima.
No one else matters from her history of voice acting.
Definitely nobody else with this that starts with the letter K. Nope.
Oh, but she also voices Pepper in One Piece. Do you remember who Pepper was?
Oh, no.
One of Usopp's little pirates from his hometown.
Oh my god.
Oh man. I'm trying to say. I know she's done a bunch of other stuff. I'm just trying to figure some. Oh, she did Asuna and Sword Art Online. I was like that. I know she's done a bunch of stuff. Sarada from Boruto.
Oh god.
You know it. Sailor Venus from Sailor Moon. And Popuko from Pop Team Epic.
That's Poggers, dude.
Which I personally never got into, but people really liked it.
I've heard things. I haven't watched it either.
I watched like the first 2 episodes. I was like, not for me. Anything else about Kudelia, or do you just want to move on to the next one?
Get a haircut.
Yeah, Kudelia, get a haircut, please.
Get a haircut.
And we will now move on to Best Boy Biscuit.
He's a best boy Biscuit.
What do you think about our boy Biscuit, Chim?
I think
Condor.
I think he ate one too many biscuits, if you know what I'm saying.
He did. I got him.
No, Biscuit's like this. He was definitely so he's like the strategist of Tekadon. You know, he's even though we have Orga, who is pretty smart, as we mentioned, he's pretty rash with his decisions. So he likes to confer to Biscuit sometimes and value his opinion over. So he's more like the strategist in the group. Basically, he's a very kind, caring person. He has a family. He has a grandmother, 2 sisters, and a brother. The brother's working all on his own somewhere, while back on Mars, his 2 sisters and grandma work on like a farm there. And basically the reason why he wants to do everything he does in Tekadon is because he wants to put his 2 little sisters into school to give them like a good education and stuff. So that's why he goes along the job. He doesn't really fight, honestly. I don't think I've rarely seen him fight, other than like a few times in the show, like near the end. But other than that, he's more of the strategist, the talker of the group.
He's the behind the scenes guy.
But he's a really wholesome guy who really cares about everybody, really like sweetly and stuff.
And he has 2 sisters called Cookie and Cracker.
I know.
What?
And his name is Biscuit. Jeez, someone was really hungry when they named their children.
Yeah, I know, right? But yeah, I guess we should point out too that people on Mars don't have like a good education system because they're all too poor to afford anything. So you find out a lot of the people in Tekadon are very illiterate. They don't know how to like read or write or anything. Yeah, that's why Mikazuki is such a good fighter, is he doesn't know how to read or write, so he views fighting as like the one thing he can do in the group. So he just is like the fighter guy. Kudelia actually tries to teach them some while she's with them.
Him and like all the other little kids too.
Yeah,
she's like, you can't read, brr.
I love when the little kids are making fun that they write better than Mikazuki. It's like, we write better than you. Yeah, it's like,
we're better. Ha ha.
But yeah, Biscuit, I feel like he's very much the glue that holds Tekadon together. He's the one that like everybody like unanimously likes. He also seems to have the best head on his shoulders as far as like reasoning works. Like Orga's always coming up with these over the top plans that are very reckless, and he's the one who tries to kind of rein Orga in, usually not successfully. He's the one that's kind of like, but if we do that, then this is going to happen. Then if this happens, this is going to happen. He's very, I guess, the realist of the group. Not like cynical realist. Like he's still hopeful and is confident they can pull stuff off, but he's very much like, we have to think about all the options here. So we'll do that. But he's there. He's kind of everybody's best friend. Let's see. He's also voiced by Eric Kimmerer.
Oh, Eric, of course.
He played Speedo Sound Sonic from One Punch Man.
Oh boy.
Who else? I saw some other people here. He also played Teruki Hanazawa from Mob Psycho.
Oh,
Blue Teruki from Pokemon Generations.
Wow.
And Ryuji from Toradora.
Oh, that's a good show right there.
I like Toradora. Toradora is in fact a good show.
That's a good one.
Anything else about our boy Biscuit?
He needs to get on a weight loss program, if you know what I'm saying.
Saying Biscuit's fat.
No, he's fluffy.
He's fluffy.
I want to give him a big hug because he's so wholesome.
Alrighty.
Would you hug Biscuit, Falcon?
I would hug Biscuit. He seems like he'd be a good hugger. Actually, I don't know. They point out that they're very unhygienic on that ship, so maybe I wouldn't hug Biscuit. I would be like, only after you take a shower.
Yeah.
I guess next, I'm going to go out of order that I wrote them on my list, and we'll talk about Naze next.
Oh, you mean the guy who literally has 50 girls to his beck and call?
The Mr. Harem guy.
The harem guy. So this is literally real quick. I'm going to talk about the openings later, but I just want to mention the opening actually has two versions, right? And in the first version of the opening, you have this guy, right? And you don't know who he is yet until like episode 8 or 9, but they shows him with like a girl kissing him, right?
Yeah.
But when they introduce him, they change the opening, and it's still like the same thing, but he's like sitting on a couch, and there's other girls around him. Basically, he runs his own like ship. What was it called?
The Turbans.
The Turbans, that's right, because his last name is Turban, and it's just him. He's the only guy. Everybody else on the ship is a girl who he is married to. That's right. They
do have some babies on there, but yeah, otherwise it's just him and his wives just chilling.
Oh, like I think 50 of them, right?
Yeah, like 50 or something. Yeah,
there's like 50 wives, and it's just like, oh my god, this is just like, wow, I can't believe this anime did something like this, you know? But basically, he's the guy who is like, he's there, he's smug, he knows what he wants, but he also really cares about people, and I think him and Orga, they're both leaders of their group. They go to their benefactor, which do you know the name of the benefactor, the guy?
I remember he worked for Tewas, but I don't remember if Tewas was his actual name or not.
Hold on, I'm looking it up.
I'm looking.
McMurdo.
That's right.
It was McMurdo Barristan. He, by the way, who's voiced by old Joseph from Jojo Bizarre Adventure in the sub.
Yeah.
But basically they become like blood brothers in a sense, where they like rely on each other a lot, and he does help him out. Naze does help out Tekken on a lot with renting them not renting them, but having some of the ladies help out in fighting. But he's a pretty good leader, pretty good character. Probably makes some of the boys on Tekken jealous of what he has. You know, I remember some of the characters. I think Eugene was like, why does he have to have 50 and I can't even talk to one girl?
Yeah. Oh, Eugene.
But basically, Naze is a pretty good character. Probably my favorite character in the sense of that, just because he literally has like 50 women on him, you know. It's just like, wow, what an interesting character. I wonder what he did. But basically the reason why he has all these women is because he's actually just a nice guy who picked up all these women who had like nowhere to go. It's revealed later in the show that that's the reason, which shows him as a really kind person who really cares about anything that's who he can take care of, you know.
Right.
He's definitely the type of person who seems like he has a lot of regrets, and he's trying not to make any more regrets as he goes forward with his life.
Yeah, and I feel like that's why he picked up Tekken, because he saw that they essentially were like the girls. They're just this group of kids who had to take over. They don't really know what they're doing. So I think he's very charitable. So he sees them as this. So when Orga asks if they can become members of Tewas or part of the organization and whatnot, because they realize Galorhorn's going to be following them every step of the way and they need a guide to get to Earth successfully. I feel like that's why he kind of takes them under his wing. He feels like he can relate to Orga, but also these kids just like really need him. He's a really great guy. The Turbans have some notoriety, so he's very good at what he does as well. But yeah, it's just him and his wives and the babies. And then when they're not babies anymore, he sends them off to school so they're not on the ship anymore. But it's fun. He's a fun guy. He's also voiced by David Vincent, who plays ZZ from JoJo's Bizarre Adventure Stardust Crusaders. Don't know who it is. The picture's just him, dude with like a bloody nose or something. I don't know. Let's see. Gilgamesh from Fate Stay Night.
Wow. I never watched that one.
I haven't either. I'm trying to see if there's anything else of note. He seems to be one of the last ones. He played Richard in Tales of Graces.
I mean, he didn't really have a big prominent role in the show. I mean, he was still there and he did a lot, but I just want to talk about him because he's my favorite.
I feel like he did more than you're giving him credit for.
No, he did.
He's very important, but yeah, he's not
very important, but not like super important, you know?
Oh, he also played Duval on One Piece.
Whoa, I hate that guy.
Yeah, he's not great. But yeah, that is Naze, which we have 2 more on our list that we said we'd talk about.
All right.
Do we want to talk about either Galio or Mcgillis first?
I'd rather talk about how much I hate Ein.
Oh, so you just want to talk about Ein instead?
There's this character who... Nah, I'm just kidding. We'll talk about Mcgillis. we'll save my ranting for really bad villains later.
Okay.
Okay.
So Mcgillis is a commander at Gallerhorn. He is also the son of one of the... I forgot what they're called, like the 7 stars. They're like the 7 richest, most predominant like families.
Yeah, the 7 stars
on Earth. He's one of like the like adopted heirs or something.
And he definitely looks like Dimitri from Fire Emblem.
He does look like Dimitri from Fire Emblem.
Don't tell Kaizen.
Kaizen will be triggered so hard. Now he's gonna watch this like, you all talked about me on the podcast. Like, we did.
Yeah, we totally did.
Because we did that on the first one, and he watched like, you all talked about me. It's like, yeah, we did. But yeah, he I find he's one of the harder ones to talk about without spoiling a lot.
So basically, Mcgillis is this character who is definitely like more of a leader type. He has this aura that I feel like kind of draws people to him because he kind of has a lot of girls who also kind of like him too. There's like Galio's little sister who he's supposed to like arranged to be married to, and then there's this girl called Carta Issue who likes her ever since they were children, you know. But he's basically this guy. He also pilots like a Gundam frame, as they call him, and he's a pretty formidable guy, as he shows, but he's a very mysterious character. And so if you are going to watch the anime, you got to keep an eye out for him because his actions might be surprising. What do you think about Mcgillis Falcon?
I like Mcgillis a lot. I feel like if you've seen other Gundams, he's kind of similar to a lot of the other characters who fit his archetype. So he's nothing like too standout or too original. Yeah,
he's definitely a trope, 100%.
he's very mysterious. He's very much kind of, I mean, I guess mysterious is the best word for him. Yeah.
He's definitely an interesting character when you learn more about him. At first, he might seem kind of bland, but as the show goes on, he's definitely the type of character who you'd be like, oh, wow, I can't believe he did this thing. Or, wow, I can't believe his actions are, this is what he wants to do, you know? I
guess what I can say is he seems very skeptical of a lot of his superiors at Gallerhorn. Like, even when we first appear, it's right after Gallerhorn has attacked CGS and they failed. And so they're complaining like, oh, we have like this committee coming in the next few days. We need to cover up any trace of this so that way they don't know we messed up. And he showed up early and was like trying to figure out what exactly they did and how badly they messed up and that sort of thing. But Mikazuki calls him Chocolate Guy because
yeah, he does call him Chocolate Guy.
They almost Cookie and Cracker run into the road on Mars, and those are Biscuit sisters. And they have to swerve out of the way so they don't hit Cookie and Cracker.
And then Mikazuki takes Galio by the thing. He's like, you never do that again.
Yeah, he takes Galio
and like, pretty funny. I'm like, are we actually just going to kill a villain right here now?
Yeah, like he's just like choking Galio, and then Galio's like, it's not us. They ran in. They're like, Galio's trying to say like it wasn't their fault. They swerved so they want to hit them. And then he has to wait till Cookie and Cracker said it was their fault. And then he still doesn't trust them. And then Mcgillis has to come and is like, nope, it really was their fault. But don't worry, we sorted out of the way. And he gives them chocolate. So he refers to him as Chocolate Guy the whole series. Whenever he sees like, oh, you're Chocolate Guy. And it's just like, hey, you got it. Yeah.
You're Chocolate Guy's friend.
Oh. You're Chocolate Guy's friend. My name is Galio. Okay, golly. Yeah.
What's his voice actor, Falcon?
Yeah, his voice actor is Steve Staley, who is Neji Hyuga from the Naruto series.
Oh.
He is also from Tales of Graces. He did Hubert. So if you're a Tales of Graces fan like myself,
me too.
That is there. And just a fun one for me, he was also in Prince of Tennis, I believe, as AG. Yes, AG Kikamura.
Well, tennis
which,
is
if
the best
you're an OG Prince of Tennis fan like me, that will make you happy. And you're probably like most people who are like, what?
I'm already brimming with happiness for you.
I know, right? Also, he was in Final Fantasy VII Advent Children as Kadaj.
I don't know who that is.
Have you not seen Advent Children?
Have you not played Crisis Core?
I have played Crisis Core.
I haven't. Leave me alone.
But
I'm
have you
playing
seriously
Ken
not
right
watched
now.
Advent
I want
Children?
a Blitzball. No, I
If
haven't.
you haven't watched this, we're gonna have to watch that one soon.
I haven't even beaten the original 7.
I mean, join the crowd.
I have the remake. I bought it for $25 this week.
Oh, nice. It's fun. I need to finish that. Anyway, off topic. But that's pretty much Mcgillis. Very opportunistic, very idealistic.
Wait a second. If this show came before Fire Emblem Three Houses, does that mean Three Houses is copying Gundam?
I mean, it's very possible.
Uh-oh.
I mean, there are a couple of similarities to Dimitri, I'll say, but yeah.
All right, let's talk about our last villain of the day, whose name is Galio, like the star guy. Totally 100% not a coincidence.
Yeah. Galio.
He has blue hair.
Galio Baudouin.
Baudouin, what a weird name.
He has blue hair and blue eyes.
He's the type of character. He's a villain. He works for Galahorn as well. I think he's mostly seen with Mcgillis a lot. I think they're friends from when they were kids as well.
They're childhood friends. Same with the other one, the girl who had the crush on Mcgillis. They were all childhood friends.
Basically, he's this guy who really loves Galahorn and wants to. I think he's like the type of character who would want to win, but not like any means necessary. You know,
he's very prideful.
Very prideful, yeah. And like, there's times where he fights Mikazuki, and he like it's either he loses or he ties, and he's like, "Oh, I'm gonna kill that kid. I don't care." And he just usually lets his pride get in the way of him, which leads to a lot of his downfalls in the show early on.
He doesn't like failure. He was in the battle at the very start when they're attacking. Wait, no, he wasn't. He wasn't.
That was just
Ein. Ein and Crank, yeah, and then the other guy who died because he was a terrible leader. But yeah, he fights Mikazuki several times and just never gets to beat him. And because of that, his pride's hurt that he can't beat Martian space trash as he views them. Until he wants to beat Mikazuki because his pride has been hurt for, but otherwise he doesn't necessarily like have anything against them except that they just keep beating him. And that's ruining the name of Galahorn, that these space rats are beating the almighty Galahorn who stopped the Calamity War 300 years ago. That's kind of his whole deal. He very much believes in the value or not values. Yeah, I guess the values of Galahorn and what they're out to accomplish.
Is he also part of one of the 7-star families? I think he is.
I believe so. But they weren't doing super great. They marry Mcgillis to his younger sister, who's like 9, I think they say. Like they're engaged.
Wait a second.
And that's to help Mcgillis's standing, to help him like grow even further. The fact that he is technically a part of one of them already, but he was like adopted into it. So this is just even further that he is now in like the 2, like technically a part of the 2 highest of the 7-star families. Just though he has even better social standing. But yeah, he even makes the comment about he's not happy that like his 9-year-old sister is engaged, but he's glad it's to Mcgillis, who's his best friend or whatever. So it's kind of like, I'm not happy she's engaged, but at least it's to you, buddy. Like, I know you're not going to treat her wrongly. But yeah, that was fun.
They don't even post his age. How am I supposed to know how old he is compared to the little sister?
Yeah. I kind of view them as close to like Orga's age. So I feel like they're probably like 18, maybe 18, 19 max.
The girl is 9 in the beginning.
Yeah.
You really think they're kids? I feel like they're maybe in their like mid-20s or something.
Maybe. I mean, they seem like they're older, but they don't seem too much older. Maybe they would. Maybe they'd be more like 23-ish, and then Ein would probably be more like 18 or 19, maybe.
Mm-hmm. I guess Mcgillis gives that aura of maturity.
Yeah. But yeah. Otherwise, what else you want to talk about Galio about?
He's horrible for picking up the worst villain in the show. They should have just killed Ein in the beginning. I'm saying that right now.
Yeah, Ein was interesting. But Ein is voiced by Robbie Damon, who is Joe.
You mean Galio?
Or yeah, Galio, my bad. I said Ein. Whoops. I have not woken up well today.
That's okay. I got 5
this train wreck of an episode.
We'll quickly abort the Gundam. Eject.
But he plays Joe Kido from anything Digimon Adventure since Try, which is just a fun one for me. Yeah.
He's on every Digimon as that character?
Yeah, since Try came out in 2016, the original voice actor for Joe, I don't remember if he died or if he just said he retired from voice acting and wasn't doing it again.
Oh, well, that's interesting.
Yeah, so they had to recast Joe, and he's been Joe from Try, and the other movie after that I haven't got to see yet because they canceled the theater showing, and I got very bummed.
Oof.
What's name I can't remember at the moment off the top of my head, which is really bugging me. He also plays Moomin Rider in One Punch Man.
Oh, he's
Ray
actually
from
Moomin
Tales of
Rider's a really good
Mysteria.
character.
Lots of Tales actors in these games, actually. That's impressive. He also plays Smokey from JoJo's Bizarre Adventure.
Oh boy, which part?
It just says JoJo's Bizarre Adventure.
I'm going to assume the first part then. I don't know this.
Let's see. And he also, if you were a fellow Gundam fan, was also the voice of Lino Fernandez from Mobile Suit Gundam: The Origin.
Wow, that must be the first one.
As well as Ebisu from Naruto's spin-off, Rock Lee and his Ninja Pals.
Whoa, the best spin-off!
Oh, he also played Spider-Man in Avengers Assemble, the 2013 TV show.
Wow, now you know he's legit.
Now you know he is legit.
He played in a non-anime or video game role. He's a legit voice actor, apparently.
Mm-hmm. And that is the end of all the characters we said we would talk about out of the myriad of them.
Yeah, there is a lot of characters, as we mentioned. They all have their own moments. We decided to choose the characters that we thought we thought what's the word I'm looking for? We chose the characters
that were most prevalent.
Most prevalent to us, and that's the ones we talk about. You might have your own favorite characters. There's tons of characters like Atra or Ayn, who I hate, or like the lady
Eugene, Shino, the mechanic,
the little guy who also has a sister he wants to put into college and to school.
Oh, Takaki.
Yeah,
I liked Takaki. He was one of
lots
my favorites.
Of good characters. See, we're not even talk about him and we like him. See, this show is definitely good with its characters. But enough about characters. We should talk about the openings and ending themes.
That's right, because we already got our one fun fact out of the way already. So the first opening is called "Raise Your Flag." It is performed by Man with a Mission, and that is
the first 13 episodes.
It is in the first 13. Well, not episode 1 because I didn't have it in episode 1.
That is actually incorrect, my friend. I'm on the Wikia page right now, and it actually played at the end of episode 1.
Oh, I see. I'm on the Wikia, and it's showing. Oh, it opened the show from 2 to 13, but I see where I was wrong. Now you were correct. Thank you for the correction.
Apparently, it does the same thing in the next season where it shows the opening and the ending. No, animes do that, so they don't.
Yeah, it's weird.
I actually
Ruby does it too.
That's why Ruby's legit anime. Totally.
So Raise Your Flag, I think out of the two we have is my favorite opening. I've listened to it all the time.
Raise Your Flag is pretty good. I really like the vocals. I like the little English lyrics at the beginning. The animations were pretty cool.
I even just like that they put like a film grain over it to make it look like more old school. I don't know why. I just enjoyed that little bit of it.
But I actually like the second opening more. I like
it's actually very good.
By Blue Encount. I think they did a few Blue Exorcist openings as well. This one's played between
was Blue Encount the people who did the Blue Exorcist openings?
I think so. I've heard of Blue Encount before. I think they did Blue Exorcist. Let me double check that.
I went to their Wikipedia page. Let me see.
But basically this opening has pretty good visuals as well, and it shows Kudelia as well a lot, especially like the beginning, the middle, the end of the opening. And it's really cool in that aspect. It shows a lot of characters, and like in the opening, in the beginning, like when you first see it, it shows Kudelia, and then behind her, it's like Mikazuki's Gundam all like destroyed. It's like, is something bad gonna happen? Who knows? You know?
Yeah, it was very interesting. I liked it. Yeah, I feel like it was good. It took me longer to like it, so I should say like I had seen part of the show before we watched it for this week, but I never had finished it.
I think they might have not done Blue Exorcist, and I just said that maybe because the title is Blue.
Maybe that's probably what you're thinking of. Yeah, I'm not finding anything about them doing Blue Exorcist, but also half this page is in Japanese, so.
Yeah. Oh well, I lied. I'm sorry, guys.
Please
don't hate me.
It happens.
But I feel like I've definitely heard them somewhere before because the name is very familiar.
Otherwise, the two ending themes for this show, the first one is called Orphan's Tears, and it is Messiah.
Sleep.
Oh, you didn't like it, but you'd sleep?
It was okay. I like that visuals where it like shows all the characters.
The visuals is really nice. Just them all with Barbatos at the corn farm. I really liked it. Definitely not one that like I'm gonna remember for forever, but I felt especially the way it starts. I felt it was a great segue. Gundam is one of those where they'll start the ending theme before like the last few minutes of the actual action, and then it kind of fades to the ending sequence or whatever. I felt it tied in really well with that. It made like a nice transition, but as itself, like I'm not just gonna listen to the song over and over again.
And then the second ending theme, I actually like the second ending theme a lot better.
Yeah, that was Steel, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
And I just found out where I've recognized Blue and Count from.
Oh,
they did the first opening of season 4 to My Hero. They did Polaris.
Okay, yeah. I like that one a lot.
They've really also done a Gintama opening as well.
Okay,
so that's why they're familiar to me.
Indeed,
Polaris is a pretty good song. My Hero is a pretty good anime. But yeah, basically, I like the second. I guess basically, I like the second opening and the second ending theme. What about you, Falcon? Do you like the first or second ending theme?
I think I like the second ending theme a little bit better.
All right,
I feel like
like-minded individuals.
Just as good of a job as like the transition that Orphan's Tears does. But overall, it's just a better song in my opinion. I would rather listen to that one again.
So now the music in the anime, it's actually good. I like the moments when they're like about to do something action. Like I think the instruments start playing up. It actually if I'm like distracted or something, it actually draws my attention. Like something good's about to happen. You know, it gave me that good feeling. So I really like the music that's arranged in the show. Also the visuals, they weren't like super good, but they weren't bad. I thought they were good. They were just good in my opinion. The visuals. What did you think about the visuals for the show, Mr. Falcon?
I like them. I like the visuals for the show overall. They're not terrible. They're not super standout. Kind of your typical Gundam animation, which I know you've not seen Gundam, so you wouldn't know what to expect.
I've seen Gurren Lagann, but unless it's just kind of the same as that. That's
Gurren
my
Lagann.
First mecha. That's my first.
Oh,
mecha.
That was your first mecha? Okay.
Yeah.
I know you told me watching this you weren't a fan of mechas, but I thought
I am not a fan of mecha, but honestly, after watching this anime, I might consider giving mecha a better chance. Again, I'm just saying not for the mecha fights, because the mecha fights, I will admit the space ones were pretty cool to see them fighting in space. I really did like that, but the mecha fights in general were just kind of mediocre.
Yeah,
I mean, they were not really like excessive or good, but it must be really hard to animate like machines as big as those like fighting. So I don't blame them for that. But the characters is what really hooked me to the show. Honestly, that's why I really like this. It was the characters. The fighting scenes were good, but not like amazing.
Yeah, I love the mech designs from this show. I feel like it has some of my more favorite Gundam mech designs, although there really aren't too many. So that may be why a lot of Gundams, they're a lot more unique. Ones were here. We had several different types of Grazes, which is the machine that Crank used at the start. Crank and the Iron and all of them at the very beginning. But then we had Barbatos. We had a slight Barbatos revision.
I like Barbatos, yeah.
We had the Guosian, the Guosian rebake.
I think the reason why I like Barbatos is because he kind of looks similar to like that really key prominent Gundam figure where if you just type in Gundam on Google, you'll see like that guy. You know what I'm talking about, right?
I know the OG Gundam, yeah.
He kind of just looks like him. So I'm like, oh, he looks OG. He must be really good.
I am not a true Gundam fan because I always forget what the actual like model number is.
It's Barbatos. Come on.
No, like it's like RX like 86 or something like that, and all the Gundam fans are gonna cringe.
It's okay, I'm cringing for you.
But yeah, I should probably just shut up because I like Gundam, but I'm not like a diehard fan of it. I always forget what the actual model is for it, but yeah, that's like the iconic one. A lot of the main Gundams share that color scheme, so a lot of them kind of are similar.
I should mention this going into the show. If you are a fan of Gundam or you want to get into Gundam, just be warned, there is a lot of deaths in the show on the good and bad side. Honestly, from a lot of I'm not going to talk about like who specifically died.
Yeah, we're not going to spoil that.
There were some villains who died, and I really felt for them a little bit when they died. Like when they delved into like their backstory and like why they did the things, and then like when some of the main characters died too, I kind of just felt like really sad. I honestly really hate when characters die in a show unless it's like for a good reason. Like if you're a fan of Ruby, Volume 3, where Pyrrha dies, that basically I hated it. But the reason why that happens is for John to grow as a character, which is really kind of sad that they would have to sacrifice a character for that. And I kind of don't like the way they do it. But we're not talking about Ruby. There is a good way for characters to die as well and make it like good. But like I feel like Gurren Lagann did a good job with that as well with Kamina. Spoiler alert. Oopsies. but
Mhm.
it's an old anime, so if you haven't watched it by now, you're spoiled.
Yeah,
Congratulations. But
watch
this
it by now.
show, I feel like sometimes the show just throws out deaths where it shouldn't have. And by the way, here's another fun fact I just want to throw out there. I told Falcon this earlier before we recorded, but basically the end of season 1 was supposed to be a lot darker with a lot of the main characters getting a lot of the main characters dying. And I didn't mention this to you, Falcon, but Kudelia was supposed to be ostracized by like a lot of people for aligning herself with Tekadon. Like they
Makes
were
sense.
and other things as well. So it was supposed to be a lot darker, but since they were making a season 2 for the anime, they decided to cut a lot of that content out and make it more like friendly.
Yeah.
So yeah, you guys got lucky. Congratulations.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right, we gotta do a weeb question, Falcon. Weeb question.
Oh shoot!
Question.
I hadn't even thought of weeb questions.
Don't worry,
no.
I got you. I got you, Falcon. Are you ready?
All right, I'm ready.
Okay. Would you join Tekadon or would you join Galahorn?
Ooh. Is this me current day or me as a younger Falcon?
Why don't you do both?
Well, Tekadon is only kids except for like the mechanic, the accountant lady, and then the one guy back on Mars who's looking after the people they left. You really can't
count the accountant lady as an adult, as a part of Tekadon. She's kind of there just there.
Well, yeah, she's like their tailless rep, I guess.
But that reminds me, that old guy, he is a part of the show. He's a part of the group, I mean, and he's not a kid.
No, but he was also like the only adult there besides the other guy who's like helping them like back on Mars that treated them like actual human beings.
I just had a moth literally throw itself at my keyboard. Nice.
Oh wow, poor moth.
His name was Nadi Yukinojo Kasapa. How old is he?
Yeah. He was probably 30s or 40s, maybe.
It doesn't say in the show.
Ooh. I mean, he wasn't important enough to get an age.
Well, I mean, he was the mechanic of the show. Yeah. He was pretty important, but he didn't get like any good character moments. He's the type of character who is in the show. And he already knows what he wants. He doesn't need any growth, and he's just there to help the other characters in a way.
Yeah,
that's the type of character he is. But I digress. Would you join Tekadon or would you join Galahorn?
I feel like I'd probably join Tekadon. But at the same time, if it was still mainly kids, I could simply be like, "Oh, that's just a bunch of kids. I don't want to deal with that now," and then go the other way. But I would probably join Tekadon if I had the choice. What about you? Would you join Tekadon or Galahorn?
I would join Galahorn just so I can kill Ein.
Wow. I don't think I've ever heard you hate a character this much.
I'm kidding. I can tell you why, but it might be a spoiler reason, so we can save that for after.
But
my real reason is I'd probably join Tekadon because I'm just like, hey, these guys are just trying to make a living in the world, and you can respect that, and they're just kids, and I just want to try to help them as best as I can. And in a sense, even though I'm 24 years old, I kind of don't view myself as an adult at times, so I feel like I still have a bit of a childish mindset at times, so I feel like I'd probably fit right in despite my age.
I hear you.
Anything else we gotta mention, Mr. Falcon?
Out of the fights we had, which one were some of your favorites?
Now, as I mentioned, none of the fights really stood out for me. I guess if I had to choose one, it'd probably be like the final one in the final episode because I really liked. I mean, the space ones were all like super cool, but seeing a giant mech fight, and this is a bit of a spoiler, obviously, for the final fight. I'm not gonna say who's fighting who, but it's kind of cool that the setting was in a city. I'm like, finally, a city where people could possibly destroy buildings. It's like a giant like Godzilla fight or something, and it gave me that kind of thrill to like finally see it. So I really like seeing that. So I guess the final fight was my favorite in that aspect. But again, none of the fights are really super good in my opinion.
Yeah, I mean, we almost had a fight at the colonies, but that kind of didn't turn really into anything.
You mean the Mars in the big? Oh no, you mean in the colonies? Yeah. Oh, that I love. Oh my god, the fact that they called that Dort, it made me. When I was younger, I always used to call Dort as like a funny name. So it's the fact that they actually made this a reality. I'm just like, oh my god, these colonies just called Dort.
You just predicted Gundam from the age of a kid.
I predicted Gundam. They read my mind and stole from my ideas. I want my money, Gundam. Give me my money.
Yeah.
But I would say the final fight would be my favorite.
I like that one a lot too. I also like the fight with the Guosian, which is the big tough one that they steal from the other like
the guy with the yellow hair I mentioned earlier. Right?
Yeah.
Okay.
The crazy guy with Akihiro's brother.
Oh, that's a spoiler.
Yeah, those guys. That fight I really liked. I thought that was a really well done one. Which
That was
was there
pretty
any
nice, yeah.
others that I really just enjoyed? I also liked the final fight with not the final fight, the second fight with Karna, where they're on the island and they're trying to evade.
You mean with the when they're on the island, that second
Mhm.
fight? Oh yeah, that is their second fight.
Yeah.
Oh, actually, I want to change my mind with
Okay.
my fight. I'm sorry to be a little like quick minded, but I actually like the fight when they're on the train and Carter just comes out and she's like, I want to do you guys fair and square. We're gonna do this right, and then literally Mikazuki comes
Mikazuki
and
just
starts
charges.
killing the heck out of all of them. It's like,
Like
oh.
he pretty much just killed the first guy. It's like, how dare you charge? That's so barbaric. Oh! It's like,
was
idiot,
really
get in the
cool.
Gundam.
Like Mikazuki was not. I'm not gonna say anything for why he acted that way, but he was literally. And I apologize for my. He was not playing around at all.
No, he's just like,
He was not
all
taking
right.
any shit. No shit at all from
Yeah.
anybody. He's like, you're dead. No, I don't even care about your rules. You're dead.
Gosh, I loved Karna just for how dumb she was.
That was big dumb.
Oh my, just so dumb. You have hurt my pride, so we are going to fight honorably. Send me your 3 best fighters. What? You're charging? How barbaric. Have you no manners? It's just like, I was going to do this the right way, and you're just attacking. It's like, yeah, okay, Karna,
That
get
was
over
probably
it.
my favorite fight because of how brutal it is.
Uh,
And that's why, again, about the Mikazuki being not my favorite main character, but still a good character. Just in that aspect, I do like that character, but not that character as a main character.
yeah, I see phrased several times around that point of the show. If you're against me or if you stand in my way, you're my enemy. I'm going to get, beat you down. So it's like, okay, you're in my way. I'm going to attack you now. But I felt like even Tekken, it was like, Mikazuki, what are you doing? And it's like, all right, too late now. I guess we got to go. It's just like, get everyone else out there. Like now he's going to need some help. Yeah. That was fun.
It was great. That was my favorite. That was my favorite fight. Now that I think about it.
Before we talk spoilers, though, did you watch the after credits next episode bits at all, or did you stop at the ending?
You mean, I think I watched the end of the final episode, but usually when I think there was they only showed previews after the ending theme, right?
They did, but in the dub, they had different characters talk about them. And so you got like little like character moments, like the little side characters.
Oh, I did not do that. Sorry.
My favorite
like when shows do that, but yeah, I didn't watch it.
I forgot his name, and that's very fitting because he talks about people not knowing who he is. Chad.
Is he Tekadon?
Yeah, Chad, the guy, the Indian-looking guy who's always on the bridge.
Okay.
The other one, like Akihiro's got the red stripe for being like space debris.
You're right. I don't know who that you're talking about. I forgot about him.
He has this thing talking about like I'm Chad. I think it was Chad. It was either Chad or the like tech guy who was like disabling doors and stuff when they boarded the burners or whatever. It was one of those two. I think it was Chad though, talking about that's who he is and kind of like what he does and whatnot. But people keep forgetting his name and that kind of pisses him off. But what's he gonna do about it? Like they'd have like fun little character moments like that. And it was like next time on Mobile Suit Gundam, Iron Blooded Orphans, blah 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 blah. But it was just really fun. I thought it was really those moments like that were fun. But I also knew you watched sub, so they might not have had those.
Oh, they probably did. I just didn't watch them.
But it was just fun. I thought moments like that were fun. That's why
we're actually mentioning the ending. I actually want to real quick mention. I really like how the anime played the episode into the ending themes. I really like when they do that. ReZero did that a lot too, and I really like that. So I really like when they do that.
That's why I liked the first ending theme. I thought it really fit that. Like I also noticed too with the ending themes, the first one's more hopeful, it seems like, and the second one's just more just like a solid ending theme.
Yeah,
it kind of has like the lighter ending theme when the show's more lighthearted, and then when it kind of gets serious, it's just like, all right, here we go. Now we have this ending theme, which I thought was appropriate. I should have mentioned that earlier, but I just thought of it. So
I thought of it too. So don't worry about it.
All right. I guess this is all we really talk about before spoilers. So. Would you recommend Iron Blooded Orphans?
So here we go.
To who and what would you rate it?
I'm not sure if I think I mentioned this at the beginning, but it was really hard for me to like understand the beginning and the premise of the show because I feel like I had to know more Gundam history about that. However, I'm not going to say that just because of that you should not watch the show. I think it's only like in the first 2 episodes I was confused, but then like you get into like the plot of the story about taking Cordelia to Earth and it was actually really good. So I would actually, I mean, I'm not really one to speak, but I would recommend this as a first time Gundam show for someone. I feel like this is probably a good way to get into Gundam. I feel like if you're a Gundam fan as well or a mecha fan, you should watch this as well. I really liked it. I honestly had low expectations because, as I mentioned, I'm not a big mecha fan. So I honestly thought it was going to be a lot of boring mecha fights, but it wasn't. There was a lot of good character moments. The characters were really thought out and well. I'm honestly going to rate this a 7.5.
Okay.
I really liked it. I was really enjoyable. It wasn't the best, but it wasn't the worst. 7.5 out of 10.
I was very curious what you would rate it because I knew you weren't a big fan of Gundam, so I kind of felt bad being like, "We're gonna watch this Gundam show or
Don't worry,
mecha
I'll make
in
you
general."
watch a show you don't like.
But yeah, that's fine. But I was like, I just really want to do it. It felt appropriate. Yeah.
What about you, Falcon? What would you rate the show?
I liked it. I definitely want to watch the second season, whether it's just on my own or as the podcast will see, who knows when. But I liked it. I would definitely recommend it to mecha fans. I mean, if you're a hardcore Gundam fan, you've already watched it, so that shouldn't really matter.
If you are a hardcore Gundam fan, watch it again.
I'm not a hardcore Gundam fan. I like Gundam, but I've only seen like maybe a fifth of the series. So like, I wouldn't say I'm hardcore. I enjoyed it. The fights are fine. The story is really good. I like the characters a lot. I think I'm going to agree. I think I'd rate it a 7.5. Gundam's one of those shows. I feel like it's entertaining, it's consistent, but it's never going to be anything stand out, amazing, great masterpiece. At least to me, it's kind of like a comfort food anime. Like if I want to watch something I know I'm going to enjoy, I'll watch another Gundam. I'll enjoy it, but that's about it. But that would be what I guess we rate it 7.5 from both of us.
Perfect, solid across
solid
the
score,
board.
Solid, good show. So if you don't want to listen to spoilers, you can hop out now and you can check out our Twitter feed at BirdBroPod on the Twitter. We're gonna start doing more with that fairly soon, but you'll also get notifications as new episodes go up, or if there will be any delays.
The next anime we're watching. Oh yes.
Oh yeah, we haven't heard this yet. What are we gonna be watching?
No, I told you.
Oh, that's what you did. I'd forgotten.
This is because I have a friend in a Discord who's like, "Oh, you should really watch this anime." He would never shut up about it, so I'm finally watching it, so he'll shut up about it. We will be watching the first season of Spice and Wolf. Another 25 episode banger, and I've heard a lot of. I've heard a lot of good things about this anime before. This guy kept mentioning to watch it all the time, so stay tuned for then. And let's talk about spoilers.
Alrighty, so.
Oh my god. Okay, I'm just gonna wait 10 seconds. I hate Ein. I hate him. I feel like he was such a waste of a villain. I feel like
that's so shocking. We haven't heard that at all.
He should have died. He should have died literally in the beginning in like the first fight. I don't understand why they kept him alive. I really hated the decision to turn him into like a literal use his body to.
He literally is a Gundam. Like
they literally made it. I'm a Gundam. I'm Gundam Ein.
Ein started off really cool, and I was like, I think I'm gonna like this guy. But then
I thought the same thing.
He just starts giving into his hatred and anger more and more and more. And then he ends up protecting Gali from an attack from Mikazuki, and then almost dies. And literally he's told the only way they can keep him alive is if they give him like cybernetic implants, which would mean he's not a pure human. And so they can't do that. But then otherwise he's going to die. So then they give him the Alia Vignana or whatever. But his is like the upgraded version. And since he can only be kept alive in this like life-saving fluid thing while he's there, he literally is a Gundam. He can't do anything unless he's in this Gundam. Yeah, it was kind of, the only cool thing was it was cool seeing Mikazuki fight someone who has better control of a Gundam than he is, because he is literally the Gundam. So he's controlling everything with his thoughts and feelings as opposed to just getting the spatial awareness. But besides that, like, it really wasn't worth it.
If you're still listening, obviously you already hit the spoiler section. I just want to mention the reason why I didn't consider Ein into my rating of the show, which I didn't, by the way. I did really not like his character, and it really sucks that he was like the final big confrontation of the final season. But they don't really do that much with him, honestly. No. Like the moments that he's on screen, it says, "I want to avenge Crank," and Crank's the guy who, like, one of the characters who died in the beginning of the show. He's like, "I want to avenge my senior because he died to children. I'm gonna beat these children till he's dying." Yeah, that's literally like every single time he appears on the screen. And so he's like, "Oh, I want to care about Gali too. Oh no!"
Yeah, it seems like Ein. They never really talked about his backstory, but it seems like he was kind of like a really poor kid. and he didn't really have much status or anything. And Crank was one of the few people who kind of like gave him like attention and showed that he was like worthwhile and whatnot and cared about him. So when Crank died, that really affected him. And then Galio kind of takes over that role of seeing Ain's worth. And so I feel like he was just deeply indebted, but he also, because of that, missed the point of what Crank was about. When Crank finds out all of CGS at that point was they were sending kids to fight them, he wanted to abort the mission because he didn't want to kill kids. He didn't think that was right, even if they were the enemy. So yeah, that's the whole thing too, is like, then he complains they killed Crank when Crank went down without orders, simply because he couldn't handle the fact that he had killed kids, even though he didn't know they were kids at the time. So he gave them the duel thing as like a premise, but he knew they probably wouldn't take it. So like, he literally wanted to die. He went down there so he could get beat in a duel and die. And he couldn't handle that. So it's like, he's not really paying homage to Crank in a good way, because Crank did what Crank wanted to do. He went out how he wanted to.
I just found another fun fact
died.
I wish I mentioned in the I'll mention it now if you're still listening. Another fun fact real quick. I'm sorry to cut you off. But apparently Johnny Young Bosch, the voice actor of Orga, actually auditioned for the role of Mikazuki.
Okay.
Pretty interesting fact. Just wanted to mention that. Now I'm looking at like the character pages on the wiki. I'm just like, now they each have their own little trivia thing. I'm like, dang it, I should have looked at this in the beginning. Oh well, I'll learn for next time. But yeah, I don't like Ein. I hate him. I think he's a waste of a. He was cool at the beginning, but then he kind of wasted his character. I think
he had the most wasted potential. He was the one character that could have been really, really great.
He should have died.
Like if you would have left him how he kind of was at the beginning, to where he's kind of still more like new and a novice learning everything, then if you were to kill off like Karna or Galio and all these people, and then have him become like this like really great Gallarhorn soldier, and like at the end of the second season he's like the final guy, that would be really cool. But they didn't do that.
No, they didn't.
Yeah, no. Otherwise, our boy Biscuit
is dead. He dies.
He's dead. Poor Biscuit.
I really hope I didn't spoil anybody. Please, if you are still listening at this point and you really want to watch the show, don't listen any further, because there's a lot of character deaths in this show.
Poor Biscuit. Yeah, I think what made it so bad is when he went out right after he and Orga had that huge fight, and they didn't want to make up because they knew there was more important stuff. They'd make up once they weren't being chased or whatever. And then
I didn't cry or tear up, but I was feeling emotional about it.
Another thing
that's why when Mikazuki beat it up Karta, it was a lot like
better
in that
when
aspect.
Freaking Karta, I love when she kills Biscuit and just killed like a bunch of their other people, like, and like the mobile workers and stuff, and then they kill like one of her like royal guards, like, you have killed one of my people, you were scum. It's like, you just killed like 10 of their people. Like,
also, it was really weird that Karta had like all blonde people on her team.
Yeah, she likes those blonde-haired guys.
Yeah, she had a major crush on Mcgillis. So
yeah, I love
actually too sad because when Karta died and Gali came to save her, she's like, "Oh, Mcgillis, you came for me," and Mcgillis like, "Oh."
Yeah. Oh god.
And then Mcgillis killed Gali because funny joke. Mcgillis is fun character.
Yeah. I love too when Galio first asked to be on Karta's squad to help out, taking out Tekkadan out of his revenge of just wanting to beat Mikazuki. I love that she's like, where is Mcgillis? I thought Mcgillis would be here. And he's like, or she said, where's the other guy? And he's like, what do you mean? She's like, you know who I'm talking about? He's like, no, I don't. The blonde one, Mcgillis, where is he? I thought he'd be here. Oh, he's on vacation. And you can tell like she's ticked off that it's just Galio and she's not getting to work with Mcgillis. Yeah, just like I thought that was really funny. It's like she didn't want you, she just wanted Mcgillis. Only to find out
she wants the blonde person. Ha ha.
Yeah, she wants the blonde person who's hanging out with his 9-year-old fiance at the moment.
That's I don't know if in season 2 they're gonna find out anything about, like, if she finds out that he killed her, that he killed him, like his sister finds out. That's kind of like screwed up when you think about it. Mm-hmm. Mcgillis is like the guy. He was like, so apparently Falcon mentioned to me there's like a masked man in every single Gundam. Mcgillis is our masked man for the first season.
Yeah.
It's actually, I'm not sure how easy it is for them to like show off, or like for them to find out who it is. But literally, when the main character Mikazuki saw the masked man for the first time, like, "Hey, you're the candy guy," and and Orga and Biscuit were like, "What?"
Yeah,
He takes his
I
weight,
love
like,
that.
"That's me."
Yeah, they're like, he comes onto their ship and's like talking to them about something.
I feel like that wasn't very suspenseful. I feel like they should have made it more.
No,
suspenseful.
it really wasn't, but it showed just how good of senses Mikazuki has. Because like his mask even has a wig, so like you can't see anything about him. It's just his voice, and his voice he's disguising it a little bit, but not by a ton. But yeah, Mikazuki's not even like looking at him and just kind of like walks by and then just kind of like stops and like, "Oh, you're the chocolate guy." And Biscuit and Org are like, "What are you talking about?" And he's like, "Oh," and I think that's where he said he's like, "Oh, you noticed or you figured it out so quickly or whatever." And Mikazuki acts like it's no big deal. Like, why wouldn't he figure it out? And everybody else is like, how did he get that? So that's where he's like, I want to work with you all. Here's the deal. Only thing is you can't mention who I actually am. Like, he's like, if you do that, the deal's off. Because
And then he was just like playing both of them too. Like he gave the location of them on the train. It was so weird. He was such a weird character. That's why he was mysterious. That's why I mentioned that.
He has goals of reforming Gallerhorn.
Mm-hmm.
And he needs Tekkadan to do that, but he also can't tell them about everything because he can't have them knowing too much, or else it would look suspicious. Is my reasoning for it.
Yeah,
but we'll see. I'm sure he's going to be he's going to be more pivotal in season 2, or even end up being the final enemy. I could see him being like the final bad guy. You find out like that his Gallerhorn reform is actually going to be worse, and so they have to take him out.
Spoiler alert! But, they have an episode. The second to last episode of season 2 is literally his name. So I don't know.
Yeah, I saw that. I was like,
something important, or he dies, or something. I don't know.
I feel like he's going to be the main bad guy. The masked people in Gundam, from the ones I've seen, have usually been bad guys.
What? No way.
What? Crazy.
Oh,
Why else would he be wearing a mask?
I know. He could just dye his hair red.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But
right, yeah,
I want to mention for spoilers.
Yeah. Well, we kind of already mentioned about Akihiro's brother. What's that, Akihiko again? I'm glad I caught myself.
It's okay. I'm going to correct you, my friend.
Yeah, no, that's what you're here for. You're here to correct me, make sure I don't do anything too stupid.
Nothing else. It's your podcast.
To get us canceled.
I'm just here to correct you.
I mean, it's kind of your podcast. You're the one who came up with the idea.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Well, you don't know. You don't know what I'm talking about.
How am I a bird when you call me chimp all the time? That doesn't make sense.
Listen, Condor.
Listen, Condor.
I am just very tired today.
Okay? How much hours of sleep did you get, Mr. Falcon?
I mean, I got more than you. I just don't wake up very quickly.
All right, then. Shut.
Yeah.
7.5. Ain's the worst character.
Mm-hmm. Yep, pretty much. I don't know if there's anything else really.
Nah.
Do a quick thinking of the brain and my brain case.
A forewarning. I've spoiled myself for some of the season 2 character deaths. So if you're interested in watching the show for season 2, be warned, there is a lot more character deaths, especially more characters of the main crew. So don't hold attachments to any characters.
Yeah, this is very much a Danganronpa situation, if you will.
I wouldn't say Danganronpa because that's like a mystery, and you have to like solve the mystery. It's just like, this is literally just like boom, boom, boom. It's like war. It's just war.
We could say Hunger Games then, very Hunger Games-ish. People just gonna be killing.
No, it's different. No, stop. It's this war.
Fine.
See, Hunger Games is like they're all in an area and they have to kill each other. This anime is just them like just fighting. There's no like, they can literally flee if they want to. In Hunger Games, they can't flee because they're no matter what, they'll be chased down. Yeah.
I mean, they don't have a choice. They have to do it. But did you ever watch Mockingjay or read Mockingjay? It's different.
Well, I'm sorry that the movie decided to make it different.
Well, the book and the movie are just different from the Hunger Games. They're not actually in Hunger Games anymore.
Oh, well, I'm sorry. I don't watch this. I'm gonna go read
Mockingjay was really not that good of a book, but that is a topic for another day.
I'm glad I did not.
All the first Hunger Games in a day. I read all Catching Fire in a day. I spent 5 months reading Mockingjay because it was trash. But whatever.
It sounds like you wasted 5 months of your life.
I read like a chapter like every other week. It was like, this is just bad. Yeah.
Can we get an F in the chat for Falcon?
Anyway, this has been our talk of Gundam Iron-Blooded Orphans Season 1. Hopefully it wasn't too trash. Hopefully you enjoyed it. I already said earlier, at BirdBroPod on Twitter. If you want to check up with our Twitter feed, you can find me on Twitch at Final Falconberry. If you want to watch me stream and have Condor usually there memeing, it's always fun, Otherwise, anything else we need to talk about before Spice and Wolf next week?
I'm looking forward to the furry anime.
The furry anime. Oh, okay. You want to be furry full time now?
I guess we're doing Beastars.
Oh, oof. Never mind. We're doing Beastars now. We're doing Spice and Wolf.
No, we'll be doing Spice and Wolf.
This has been it, guys. Thanks for watching. Hopefully it wasn't too bad, too cringe. Yeah, too cringe, too crazy brain. My whirly cog up in my brain case, not doing too well today. You know,
this is what happens when two boys get minimum amount of sleep.
Yes, exactly.
Well, we'll see you all next week for Spice and Wolf Season 1. Goodbye.
Have a great time. Until then, later.